highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Schilt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres postgame show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
We are live here at Petco Park as the Padres drop the opener of this mini two-game series to the Seattle Mariners. Final score on this Tuesday night in downtown San Diego. The Mariners 8 and the Padres 3. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. 8 runs on 13 hits tonight for the M's. The Padres 3 runs on 5 hits as the Padres drop to 49 and 46. Mariners pick up their 50th win of the season. They're now 50 and 43. The Padres all of a sudden have lost 3 in a row between Saturday and Sunday against Arizona and now here on Tuesday against Seattle with 4 games remaining until the All-Star break through Sunday. We'll break this game down from start to finish. We'll go through every aspect of this one. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. We'll have all the radio highlights for you, recap it in its entirety, but I'll give you some initial thoughts before we get to all that. This was the kind of game where if you didn't know much about the two teams coming in, but you did see the numbers for the starting pitchers, Adam Mazur against Logan Gilbert. Well, it went about as you would have expected based on the starting pitching matchup. Adam Mazur gave up a run in the first, a run in the second, 2 runs in the third. By the time we were through 2.5 innings, it was a 4-0 Mariners lead. And meanwhile, Logan Gilbert, especially through his first 6 innings, was just marvelous for Seattle. I mean, totally as advertised. We told you about it pregame that Gilbert had been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year, one of the best pitchers in the American League, an all-star. He'll be going to Arlington next week, and he was exactly as advertised. Now, he gave up a couple of late home runs, but through the first 6+ innings of this game, he was almost unhittable. I mean, he aside from an infield single for a while, he really had not allowed anything. So, look, when you looked at this starting pitching matchup, I think, and we talked about it with Jesse pregame, if you caught that, you know, what we said was, well, Logan Gilbert's been really, really, really good against the Padres in his career. Maybe he's due for a not very good start. Well, this Mariners offense has been really, really cold. Maybe Adam Mazur, who's limited the walks. There's been some positives to pull away from his last couple of outings. Maybe he can find a way to shut down this Mariners offense. And unfortunately, those two things, Gilbert having a bad night and Mazur shutting down what has been a really rough Mariners offense. They didn't look like it tonight. Unfortunately, both those things just didn't happen. And the numbers with the starting pitching, they just sort of proved to be true. So it was that kind of game. Padres fell behind early, and they could not recover against the guy in Gilbert. And let's just be frank about it. Look, when you fall behind 4-0 in the first 2.5 innings, and you're facing a guy in the caliber of a Logan Gilbert, that is a very, very, very tough hill to climb. And the Padres could not climb that hill tonight. And the Mariners continue to add on. They got 1 in the 5th inning, 2 in the 7th inning, even 1 in the 9th inning. Padres had a couple of late home runs. There were a couple of offensive positives to pull away from this game. The thing that is concerning out of the last 2 nights for the Padres offensively is this. Despite hitting 3 home runs in these last 2 games, the home run from Profar, a solo shot on Sunday, only run the Padres scored on Sunday, and the 2 late home runs, the solo shot from Cronenworth in the 7th here tonight, the 2-run home run from Higashioka, by the way, his career-high 11th home run, so good for him here on July 9th to accomplish that. That's awesome. But I feel bad. We just had a young fan come up and try to talk to me. I wish I could talk to him. I'm on the radio. But anyway, aside from that, the Padres, the last 2 games, a span of 18 innings, since the 10th inning on Saturday against Arizona, the Padres have not had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position in the last 2 games, a span of 18 innings now. So they have not had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position. They have not had a man standing on second base during an at-bat in 18 innings now, going back to the 10th inning on Saturday. It's kind of remarkable. Now the Padres have had 3 home runs in the last 2 games. Okay, I'll take that. But the Padres just aren't really stringing hits together at all the last couple of nights. So, look, 3 losses in a row. Is it the end of the world? No, the Padres are back to 3 games above 500. But I do think it's fair to say that it does put a little bit of pressure on the final 4 games of this homestand, right? I mean, you would hate the Padres to take a big step backwards before the All-Star break, considering all the good that's happened in the last 2-3 weeks. So we're still a ways away from that. We'll see how the next 4 games go. And obviously, I think tonight the story sort of begins and ends with the starting pitching. Adam Mazur was another really tough outing, and for Logan Gilbert, he was as advertised. Gave up some late home runs, but had an early lead, worked with it, and he was great here tonight. Final score, Mariners 8, Padres 3. When we come back, we'll have all the radio highlights for you, recap this game from start to finish, and we'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Padres fall to the Mariners 8-3 in the opener of this 2-game set. More postgame after this. Postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Mariners 8 and the Padres 3 as the Padres drop a 3rd game in a row. They drop the opener of this short 2-game series against the Mariners. Padres now 49-46 on the year. Mariners pick up their 50th win. They're now 50-43. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Another great crowd here tonight, 43,000 plus in the building, 29th sellout of the season. There were also a lot of dogs here. They kept showing them on the video board, so a lot of pups in the crowd here tonight as well. I don't know that they include the dogs as part of the attendance number. Who knows? Maybe they do. They don't. Just people, 43,000 plus in the building here tonight. So another great crowd on a Tuesday night in July to see the Mariners. So More of the same in that department, but unfortunately the Padres fall here tonight 8-3. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt coming up in just a handful of minutes, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap this one from start to finish.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Right-hander Adam Mazur took the mound for the Padres in the top of the first inning, and things did not get off to a particularly good start. He walked the leadoff man, then hit the next batter. With one out and runners still on first and second, it was Julio Rodriguez.
For the Mariners this year, most in baseball, as Rodriguez bounces one through the left side, a base hit. Crawford rounding third on his way. The throw and the tag, not in time. Bang, bang at the plate. Higashioka did a nice job kind of acting like the throw wasn't coming in, but J.P. Crawford never let off the gas. Profar nearly got him. It's an RBI single and a 1-0 Seattle lead.
In the top of the second, Jorge Polanco hit a leadoff single. Ty France was next.
Here's old friend Ty France. First pitch swinging. Line drive right center field. Long run Peralta not going to get there. Two hops up against the wall and right. They're going to wave Polanco. Rounding third. Cronenworth's throw to the plate. Not in time. RBI double Ty France. And a 2-0 lead for Seattle here in the second.
2-0 lead for the Mariners still in the top of the third. A one-out single for Julio Rodriguez. Then it was Cal Raleigh.
Here's the pitch. And a curveball hit in the air to right field and deep. Peralta's backing up. He is at the wall. It's going to go. 2-run home run for Cal Raleigh. He almost passed Rodriguez near first base. J-Rod had gone back, and Peralta made that catch. He might have been trying to tag from first to second base, but it is a home run. Raleigh did not pass him. A 2-run shot and a 4-0 game in the third.
Meanwhile, Mariners starter Logan Gilbert was simply terrific early on. He allowed a single in the second. That was the Padres' only base runner through 5 innings. In the top of the 5th inning, Julio Rodriguez hit a solo home run. Against Mazur, it was a 5-0 Mariner lead. Gilbert just kept on rolling. He worked around a 2-out walk in the 6th inning for a scoreless frame. In the top of the 7th inning, Rodriguez collected his 4th hit of the night with a 1-out double against Yuki Matsui. Matsui then allowed a 2-run home run to Cal Raleigh, this time from the right side of the plate for the switch hitter, his second home run of the game. It was a 7-0 Seattle lead. By the way, Rodriguez, who was 4 for 4 at one point tonight, he was removed from the game in the 8th inning. Mariners took him out, and Dylan Moore came in to play the outfield and took his spot in the lineup. We'll see if we can get more info on that. I found it a little odd, even though he's been dealing with a little bit of a quad issue. But Rodriguez, in his at-bat of the 9th inning, would have had a chance at the cycle. So we'll see if we have any information on that. But anyway, 7-0 Mariners led through 6.5 innings here tonight. Gilbert took the mound for the bottom half of the 7th inning. Jake Cronenworth put the Padres on the board.
Here's the 0-1, and Cronenworth hits it in the air to deep right field. This one is way back. Gonna go over the Petco porch. Second hit of the night for the Padres will break up the shutout. A solo homer for Cronenworth, his 13th of the season.
So that made it a 7-1 game in the 8th inning. The Padres got a little closer against Gilbert. David Peralta hit a 2-out single. Kyle Higashioka was next.
1-1. Higashioka swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Moore is racing back. He'll watch. Gonna go! Number 11 for Higashioka. That is a new career high. 2-run shot in the 8th, and it's 7-3.
A really nice moment in this game. Like Jesse alluded to, 11 home runs now for Kyle Higashioka. That is a career high already here on July 9th. And in 117 at-bats this season, Higashioka had 11 home runs. He's never done that in his career. So the great run for Higgy continues, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on during our post-game coverage. In the top half of the 9th inning, the Mariners would score a run on an RBI double from Victor Robles. That was against Enyel De Los Santos, but it was Wandy Peralta who started that inning. He gave up a 2-out double to Cal Raleigh, and then Peralta came out of the game with what looked like some sort of groin issue based on sort of how he reacted after throwing a pitch. He came right out of the game. De Los Santos came in. Mariners did get a run in the ninth inning. And again, I'm sure we'll hear some sort of update from Mike Schilt on Peralta in just a moment. But he did come out of the game with an apparent injury. Mariners would get that run, make it 8-3. And then it was Gregory Santos who came in for Seattle in the bottom of the ninth inning. A scoreless frame. And that was that here tonight. Final score, Mariners 8 and the Padres 3. Seattle 8 runs, 13 hits, no errors. Padres 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. Again, the winner here tonight, Logan Gilbert. He's now 6-5. Adam Mazur, a tough outing once again. 4 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs given up on 7 hits, including 2 home runs. He drops to 1-3. So a tough one here tonight. Padres have now dropped 3 games in a row, and we'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow against Seattle. Let's go downstairs here at Petco Park and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, you chalk this up to an all-star being dominant.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. He was good. I mean, Gilbert threw the ball well. He's an all-star for a reason. He's got a really, really nice arm. Good life on his ball tonight. Was throwing it where he wanted to. Secondary was working. The guy was really, really good. Crony got him, and that was a good swing, obviously. And of course, Higgy. We started getting to him late, but it was too late.
Last couple games, not a whole lot of offense. Gilbert wasn't pitching the Sunday. That's a guy Ryan Nelson's a guy you've gone to. What do you think's happened these last couple games?
Yeah, I can't live in the past with Nelson, man. If we're going to live in the past, let's appreciate the good offense prior to that. But I think we just addressed that. Gilbert pitched like an all-star night, was really effective.
So not really any sort of correlating thing. You got 4 hits in both of those 2.
I think if you look across this league over 162 games, you're going to have back-to-back games where it doesn't go as well as you like offensively. I think that's just going to happen. We don't like it to happen, clearly. But, I mean, we've got a really good offense, and we trust our guys completely.
It's been a little bit of a rough go for Adam in his first time up in the majors. What does he need to do better as he goes forward? Yeah,
I mean, tonight, look, it was coming out good. It's just command, controlling counts, commanding the baseball. The stuff was, the curveball was good, showed up tonight. That's an effective pitch for him. Fastball had life, as much life as we've seen. Just wasn't able to throw where he wanted, big league hitters. It was like one of those deals where it's like, got out some traffic early, felt like he kind of settled down, he navigating the game, to the scoreboard. And, of course, Rodriguez put a swing on him, and, Raleigh got him with a nice, went down and got it, man. That was a nice piece of hitting. Just the consistency.
How's Wandy doing?
We're still preliminary. It looks like the immediate feedback I got was a mild abductor strain. Those things can go either way. So we'll know more in 24, 48 hours.
Obviously, you don't have the answer now, but given the All-Star break and where you are in the schedule, could it be IL and you don't lose that many days, or is it still too early to tell?
Yeah, I mean, clearly we'll be, cognizant of the schedule. But it's too early for me to tell you, Got tomorrow, we get a day off after tomorrow, so we'll see.
What more do you need out of the number 5 spot in the rotation?
Just generally, look at every rotation, but, there's no absolutes for your 5 guy. You just want to be able to make sure that they're going to be able to give innings and keep you in games. That's some rotations you have, your number 5 guys is, if you got a lights out rotation, as a guy can go out and shut guys down. But, pretty typically, generally, you want your 5 guy to be able to go out and keep you in games and give you innings. And, Mays was, you think about sometimes what the narrative is for the game. And, I was sitting there going, man, you know what, if this guy can get through 5 and, that last run, the 5th, kind of hard to validate what I'm about to say. But, he righted a ship early, which is what starters do, and he was able to pitch into the 5th. He just couldn't quite stop the bleeding. But, shave another run off, and he's able to go grab another inning or so. Now you're looking at, reasonable outing.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after tonight's game. Padres fall 8-3 to the Seattle Mariners. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. So the update we got there from Mike Shildt on Wandy Peralta, at least Mike called it there a mild adductor strain. Obviously, they're still, I'm sure, assessing what the injury is for Wandy when he came out of the game. So the update there, and we will talk more about what Mike Shildt had to say there and really just sort of back into Adam Mazur and his outing here tonight, and maybe even just touch on his future, just the immediate with the Padres out of this rotation right now, because it's been, his first turn in the major leagues. It's been tough so far. And look, he's a young right-hander. He's 23 years old. Certainly a pretty highly touted prospect for the Padres. So a handful of starts does not make or break your career. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. But obviously it's been tough, and this was another tough one here tonight. Padres fell behind 4 and then 5-0, and that's just a mighty tall task to ask this offense, which had its own issues here tonight, but asked this offense to come back against a guy like Logan Gilbert. So we'll step aside. We'll come back. We'll talk more about that. We'll continue to break down this game. We'll get you involved via the phones as well. If you want to get a phone called in, the number is always 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, the phone number to call. Final score here tonight, Mariners 8, Padres 3. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
On your mark, ready, set, let's go. Dance floor pro, I know
Our
you
post-game
know,
show
I
continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Mariners 8 and the Padres 3. We'll talk a little bit more about Adam Mazur and get into some of your phone calls in just a moment. First, let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut. It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
For our relief pitcher of the game tonight, we'll stay on the Padres side of things because we can, and we've got some options. And we'll give relief pitcher of the game here tonight to Stephen Kolek, who was actually really good out of the bullpen. Inning and a third scoreless, 4 up, 4 down, 3 strikeouts, 26 pitches. And Kolek is sort of quietly been really, really solid out of the bullpen as of late. And I think solid enough to the point where I'd like to see Stephen Kolek in some bigger spots. I'm not saying he's going to take the role of a Morahone or a Estrada, but when you consider the struggles of some other guys and what he's done really since that rough outing in Kansas City on May 23rd, it's very impressive. I'm going to give you some numbers here on Kolek, who again, inning and a third scoreless tonight, 4 up, 4 down. Since the start of June, Stephen Kolek, let me make sure I have the right numbers here. Stephen Kolek, since the start of June, and I understand a lot of this is not high leverage situations, and there's a big difference between pitching in big spots and pitching in other spots, but still, 13 appearances, 0.52 ERA, 17 plus innings, 17 strikeouts, 3 walks. He's allowed 1 earned run in his last 13 outings, and that is since June 8th. So, look, Steven's been really good for a while here, and really going back to that rough outing in Kansas City, where the Padres had a huge lead, and they had to go get Robert Suarez, and the Royals almost came back and won the game. Padres still hung on for the win in that one, if you remember it, back in Kansas City. That was late May. But Kolek's been really good lately, is my point. And for a bullpen that is right now searching for guys outside the trio of Morahone, Estrada, and Suarez, guys that can take big spots, I wouldn't mind Stephen Kolek getting a little bit more responsibility based on what he's done. I mean, there's a reason he's here. There's a reason the Padres wanted to keep him on the roster as a Rule 5 selection, so I'm just pointing it out. As of late, Kolek has been really good. And again, I know a lot of that is, all of it really is not high leverage situations, but just something to note and monitor is my point. So anyway, here tonight, once again, another really good outing for Stephen Kolek. Inning and a third scoreless, 4 up, 4 down, our relief pitcher of the game. All right, we'll get to your phone calls in a second here. Look, another tough outing here tonight for Adam Mazur. 4 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs given up, 7 hits allowed. He threw 86 pitches, and the outing, had some twists and turns to it. He starts by walking J.P. Crawford to start the game, hits Mitch Garver with a pitch, and just like that, there are 2 on and nobody out. It was not a great start. Rodriguez, base hit, gives the Mariners a 1-0 lead in the first inning, and then he gives up some hits in the second, and a single and a home run in the third. Maybe his command was a little bit better as the night went along, but then gives up the home run to Rodriguez in the 5th inning. And again, ultimately 4 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs given up. So to this point, Adam Mazur, his numbers overall, it's a 7.84 ERA in his first 7 starts of his major league career. 31 innings, 19 walks. Now the walks have been better lately, but obviously, even when he's not walking guys, he's getting hit. And look, I think the reality with Mazur is this right now. He's a young pitcher. He's 23 years old. Really, really good numbers in the minor leagues, and came to the major leagues and really has pitched in a way that he didn't pitch in the minors. And what I mean by that is he's just been wilder, right? I mean, that was the thing that we focused on when Mazur came up, the fact that he just didn't walk guys. And he's been a great command pitcher in the minor leagues. To this point, that hasn't translated in his first 7 major league starts. And I want to be clear, when we talk about Mazur, your career in the major leagues is not, made up of 7 starts. So, and he's 23. So could it be a situation where Major needs more seasoning and something like that before, he's truly ready for success at this level? Look, yeah, it's hard to learn at the major league level. It just is. This is a hard place to go through struggles and, learn how to get major league hitters out if you're not quite ready for it. As far as what the Padres do moving forward, I don't know. I mean, you can look at the 40-man roster. There aren't, a ton of, I would say, options that seem automatic in your head. Like, I just went and looked at what Johnny Burrito's been doing. We know they sent him down to AAA so he could start, so they could stretch him out as a starter. The 2 outings since he's gone down, 51 pitches on June 30th, 61 pitches on July 6th, so that was a handful of days ago. So they are stretching him out. Now, I think the schedule is going to play a little factor. Remember, Adam Mazur, his turn in the rotation wouldn't come up again until a while after the All-Star break. And with some of the off days the Padres have in the month of July, remember, every Monday is an off day this month. It'll be interesting to see what they do if they start getting a little bit more creative and aggressive in using those off days, right? There's a chance that you could go a little while without necessarily having to use 5 starters. And again, I'm not trying to knock Adam Mazur, okay? He's in a tough spot. He's a young pitcher trying to figure it out at the major league level, and he's 23, and for all we know, Adam Mazur is going to be a big part of this team moving forward for a long time. That's in the realm of possibilities, certainly. But it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward post All-Star break because of the struggles. Is Burrito maybe ready, to maybe come back up and take that spot, even if he's still sort of building up and being stretched out? I'm intrigued and kind of curious to see what happens moving forward with this spot in the rotation. We'll see what happens, but look, this was another tough one here tonight for Adam Mazur. We'll step aside, come back with more. We'll get into some of your phone calls, take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Final score here tonight, Mariners 8, Padres 3. Post-game coverage continues after this.
For 70 years,
Postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Mariners 8 and the Padres 3. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Padres have dropped 3 in a row. They'll try to split this 2-game series tomorrow against the Mariners before another off day on Thursday. And then it is the Atlanta Braves coming to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's what's to come over the course of the next handful of days. And then we have the All-Star break beginning on Monday, which should be fun for Padres fans to watch with the 5 All-Stars going to Arlington. Well, Fernando Tatis Jr., I have no idea if Fernando's going to go or not be there. For all I know, he will be. He's not going to play in the game, but Padres will have 5 All-Stars on this year's team. Fernando Tatis Jr., Jerkson Profar, Robert Suarez, Jackson Merrill, and Luis Ariz. So should be a fun all-star event to watch, I think, here in San Diego, certainly. So looking forward to that. But Padres still have quite a bit of business to take care of before then. 1 more game against Seattle, day off Thursday, and then 3 more against Atlanta, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I mentioned this in the opening segment, and I think it's worth saying again. Look, there's no way around it. These next 4 games, they're important for this Padres team. They really are. Let's not kid ourselves. You would really, really hate, because of how nicely things have gone, really until the loss on Saturday this weekend, how nicely things were going. You would really, really hate for the next 4 games to go really not well and find yourselves at the All-Star break like back at 500 or something like that, right? You'd really kind of hate that, considering all the hard work they've done to go above and how well things were going until a handful of days ago. I'm just making that point. So I do feel like, and look, the Mariners are a first-place team. The Braves are the number 1 wild card team. Obviously, really, really good group. It's not easy, these next 4, but I think you'd really like to see the Padres, I'm not saying you got to go 4-0, but 3-1, bare minimum 2-2. That would be nice. So the next 4 up until the All-Star break, they do feel kind of important for this team. You'd like them to carry the momentum they've had for the most part the last 2-3 weeks into the All-Star break and not go into the break on a skid. So we'll see how it all transpires, but that's the deal right now. Padres have had a rough few days, 3 straight losses, and again, the offense the last couple of games pretty quiet aside from a trio of home runs, 1 on Sunday from Profar, 2 here tonight late after it was already a 7-0 game from Cronenworth, and then Kyle Higashioka. So the Padres made a little bit of noise, but again, the last 2 games the Padres have not had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position. They have not had a guy on second base standing there with a pitch thrown at all the last 2 games. It's kind of remarkable. So we'll see if they can get it going tomorrow. They've got a really tough test tomorrow, and right-hander Bryce Miller, this Mariners rotation. Look, there's a reason the Mariners are a first-place team in the American League West, although they had a really big lead to start. Now teams are closing in, the Astros in particular. But there's a reason that despite their offense not being great, that they're in first place. And the reason for that is their pitching's really good. And so we saw that here tonight, no doubt. And we'll see what the Padres do against Bryce Miller tomorrow. We'll also revisit what Xander Bogaerts had to say earlier today. Xander was here at Petco Park today, took live BP, took ground balls at second base. Of course, as we know, Xander was on a rehab assignment with AAA El Paso in the late part of last week, early part of this week, and he was back in San Diego today, and certainly sounded like the plan, and we'll hear from Xander in our final segment, but sounds like the plan is that he's going to get at least another rehab game in or 2. Padres have not made that official as far as where he's going, but sounds like there is a legitimate possibility he may be back before this week is over, which would be great news for the Padres, but he's close. A return is imminent for Xander Bogaerts, and that is good news. We'll revisit what Xander had to say earlier today, a little bit later in our post-game coverage. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues today. Everything has gone final. We did have 2 rainouts today. Let's start with those. Royals and the Cardinals in St. Louis rained out. They'll make that up tomorrow. Twins and the White Sox also rained out in Chicago, and they'll make that up tomorrow as well. Finals, Giants beat the Blue Jays 4-3 in San Francisco. Giants walked it off in the bottom half of the 9th inning, winning run scoring on a wild pitch. Braves beat the Diamondbacks 6-2 in Arizona. Adam Duvall, the home run in that game for Atlanta. Pirates beat the Brewers 12-2 in Milwaukee. Joey Bart, a grand slam in that game for Pittsburgh. Astros beat the Marlins 4-3 in Houston. Alex Bregman, a 2-run home run in that game. Mets beat the Nationals in New York 7-5. Francisco Lindor, a home run for the Mets. Red Sox beat the A's 12-9 in Boston. An 8-run inning in that game for the Red Sox as they get past the A's 12-9. Reds beat the Rockies 12-6 in Cincinnati. Rhys Hines hit another home run. He now has 2 in his first 2 career games. The one last night, I don't remember the exact distance, but it was a long home run. The one here tonight, 458 feet. So how about that? Rhys Hines, first 2 major league games, 2 home runs, and both were absolute shots. So Reds beat the Rockies 12-6, and it looks like they've got a good young player on their hands in Rhys Hines. Rays beat the Yankees. Their struggles continue 5-3 in Tampa Bay. Phillies beat the Dodgers 10-1 in Philadelphia. Trey Turner, the former Dodger, a grand slam in that game for Philly. Guardians beat the Tigers in 10 in Detroit 9-8. Josh Naylor, go-ahead RBI single in the 10th inning in that game. And finally, Cubs beat the Orioles 9-2 in Baltimore. Ian Happ, a 3-run blast in that one for the Cubbies. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday across the major leagues. Let's tell you about tonight's player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Our player of the game here tonight, well, it's going to be a Mariner. And you have 2 options here tonight. It's going to be Julio Rodriguez or Cal Raleigh. Rodriguez at one point tonight was 4 for 4. He came a triple shy of the cycle. I'll have more on Rodriguez in a second. Why he came out of this game. Cal Raleigh, though, 3 hits, including 2 home runs. Pair of 2-run shots. 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 7th. So who do you go with? The guy who went 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs scored? He had a home run, Rodriguez did. Or do you go with Cal Raleigh, who had 2 home runs, 3 hits, 3 runs scored, and 4 RBIs? Man, that's tough. Well, if you're a Padres fan, you're probably listening to this saying, I don't care because it's not a Padres. So you know what? We'll give it to Julio Rodriguez. 4 for 4 night, 2 RBIs, home run, 3 runs scored, triple shy of the cycle. But certainly Cal Raleigh deserving as well from the Seattle perspective tonight. But we'll give it to Julio Rodriguez. By the way, I'm reading this tweet from Ryan Divish, Mariners beat writer for the Seattle Times, and we wondered why Rodriguez came out of the game in the 8th inning. He came out and was replaced by Dylan Moore, who came in to play the outfield, and the Mariners shifted around their outfield. And it was a little weird because, number one, it was a 7-1 game at that point in the 8th inning. 7-1, you're winning by a lot. I wouldn't say like that's blowout territory per se. It's pretty close. But the weirder part of it was this. Rodriguez was 4 for 4 in a triple shy of the cycle. You're telling me that the Mariners didn't want him to get the at-bat in the top of the 9th inning? It seemed odd. So Ryan Divish, I'm going to read this tweet here, tweeting, Julio said his calf got a little tight late in the game just as a result of not doing much sprinting the last 3 or 4 days, he wasn't concerned about it. So that's why Rodriguez came out. That makes sense to me. So he came out again. He's been dealing with a quad issue. That's why he wasn't in the lineup the last game for the Mariners. So that's why Rodriguez came out. We'll see if that affects him tomorrow. Who knows? Obviously, he's been dealing with the quad and now apparently dealing with a little bit of a calf issue tonight. So that's why he came out of the game. We'll see if that means anything for Rodriguez as far as the Mariners lineup tomorrow. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll have our play of the game. We'll have a good discussion about Kyle Higashioka, kind of highlight the good things he did here tonight and his career-high 11th home run. I think it's worth talking a little bit about here tonight. And we'll also revisit what Xander Bogaerts had to say earlier today. Again, Xander was here, took live BP, took infield, and is in good spirits and is nearing a return to the Padres. So we'll hear from Xander, what he had to say earlier today when we come back. Again, the final score, Mariners 8, Padres 3. Our post-game coverage continues after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Mariners 8 and the Padres 3. Padres have dropped 3 in a row. They dropped the opening game of this quick 2-game series against the Mariners. Remember, tomorrow is a 3:40 p.m. first pitch, so a little bit unique tomorrow on a Wednesday. 3:40 p.m. first pitch. We'll have more on tomorrow's game coming up in just a little bit. It's a unique start time tomorrow. Right now, it's really a very unique schedule, to be honest with you, with the day off yesterday. 2 games, day off Thursday. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. I'll take the off days this time of year and then the All-Star break. So it's actually, I think, all things considered, pretty nice for the Padres. They're getting some good off time after what's been just by games and number of days been really hard the first few months. And you consider the Korea trip and all of it, even going back to late March. It's been a difficult schedule, so it's well-earned for this team, and we'll see if they can take advantage of it, both just getting the rest, but also, who knows, maybe with their pitching staff as well, doing some maneuvering with their starting rotation in the days and weeks to come. So we'll see what happens with all that. We'll revisit what Xander Bogaerts had to say earlier today in just a moment. First, let's hear tonight's play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
1-1. Higashioka swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Moore is racing back. He'll watch. Gonna go! Number 11 for Higashioka. That is a new career high. 2-run shot in the 8th, and it's 7-3.
Our play of the game here tonight, look, Mariners won, but we'll give it to Higgy for the home run, the 2-run shot in the 8th inning. Sometimes when I do this, when I'll take a Padres play that I want to highlight for play of the game, I'll almost forget what that little intro says about who came out on top. But we'll give it to Higgy here tonight because I think it really is something for Kyle Higashioka, and it's worth highlighting even despite this loss. His 11th home run, that's a new career high. Kyle Higashioka, in his last 3 seasons, he hit 10 home runs exactly in the last 3 years. He hit 10 in 2021, 10 in 2022, and 10 in 2023. The big difference, though, between this year and last year, because now he has 11, a career high. He's never had 11 in a single season, is that he did it in 116 at-bats. That's it. 116 at-bats for the 11 home runs. The last 3 seasons to get the 10 in each year, it was 193 at-bats, 229, and 242. So it's what, 80-ish at-bats, less than, 193. It is really impressive. Really, really is. So good for Kyle. Been a real great story on this team. He continues to hit for power, continues to contribute, and Kyle Higashioka with our play of the game. I know, despite the loss, still pretty cool for Higgy. And we'll see how many he ends up with. I mean, the pace he's on, considering right now you expect he's going to play a lot with the way he's played. I'm curious to know how many he ends up with. I mean, just since the start of June, he's been on an absolute tear, so it's been a lot of fun to watch for Higgy. Good for him. Career high 11th home run in this ball game here tonight. And by the way, you may have caught him on Ben and Woods this morning. He was excellent. I would highly encourage you to go back and listen to, watch his segment in studio on Ben and Woods this morning. Not only was Higgy great, he always is. He's been a great guy to deal with this season from our perspective, our interviews, and all the things we do here on the radio side. But they did a great job. Woodsy brought in an electric guitar, and you may know this, Higgy is a good guitar player, really works at it and is good. And he played the guitar, and it was awesome. He got on the guitar, and it was awesome. So if you missed that earlier today, I really encourage you to go back and watch it. I'd say watch it on YouTube because you get the full experience with Higgy playing the guitar, so you can go back and watch that on the Ben and Woods, I would imagine, YouTube channel. I know some clips of it are also posted on the 97.3 The Fan Twitter and Instagram, but that was really good with Higgy earlier today. If you missed it, highly recommend going back and watching the in-studio appearance from Kyle Higashioka. All right, before we wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow, let's just revisit what Xander Bogaerts had to say earlier today. If you missed this earlier during our pregame coverage, again, Xander, as we know, was on the rehab assignment with AAA El Paso, was back in San Diego today, took live BP, took infield. Everything looked really good from my standpoint. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a coach, anything like that. But everything looked good to me, looked very smooth, very natural. And as you'll hear right here from Xander, sounds like, and again, no confirmation on where this is going to be. Maybe Lake Elsinore, but we have no confirmation on that. He's going to play in another rehab game, maybe more than that. So we'll see what it ultimately is, but there's no doubt about it. it certainly appears that Xander is very close to returning, which is terrific news. So let's go back. Let's hear what Xander had to say earlier today about how he's feeling after he worked out on the field this afternoon.
Feel good, getting there, getting close. So hopefully it's coming around soon.
How many at-bats do you think you had?
I had today?
Yeah.
Close to 20 maybe. Okay. 15, 20, about.
What else do you think needs to be done before?
I'll probably say a couple more games, in games. That's great, but I mean, it's obviously a little different than games, and playing anywhere in the minors, I mean, I don't think it makes a big difference. Just being in a game itself is just different.
How do you feel like right now? You've had, 3 games and today and all that? The shoulder still feels good?
I feel good. I feel great. As I said, just probably a couple more games might still, and timing. And as I said, the game is much different regardless if you play AAA, you play, low A, high A, whatever. It's just being in a real game is a little different, But that we did today was very nice. I mean, probably got more at bats than normal, and I just think it's more like muscle memory thing, being able to understand, I can let it go, and as opposed to sometimes it just wants to stay on.
I noticed that a lot of one hand, not a lot of two-hand follow through. Are you done with that?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
It's hard, two hands, and it's not me. And as I said, probably in a season, a regular season, I probably do it maybe 10 times, but it just happens normally, But went down in AAA, it kind of happened a little bit more. So I just think it's something that by playing a little bit more, seeing more pitches, swinging a lot more, might just get that out of the way and just get it back to normal.
Are you surprised how quickly? I mean, I know you said a month. The trainers, I think, said longer, but you're pretty close to where you thought it would be. Are you surprised at all that?
No. I know my body. I know how hard I work. I know I listen to the trainers. I try to do as much as they say, they know more than me. That's not my job. And follow their instructions. They've been really helpful with me and all of this. Because, they know it's hard for me, just being able to not play, because it's probably the longest that I've had without being able to play, besides the off season. But I'm thankful for them, man. They really did a good job. The trainers, the guys in the weight room, it's pretty remarkable the way I'm kind of recovering after the game, feeling as if I didn't even play, which is pretty good.
So the shoulder, as far as after the game, morning after, pain-free, soreness-free?
Yeah. I'm more worried the other parts, like your legs, being out there a little too long and stuff like that. But the recovery has been fine, as I said. It's just some in-game stuff that probably needs to get to the mind, and that's about it.
That was Padres second baseman Xander Bogaerts earlier today. Again, we'll update you on what the plan is for Xander in the next day or two. Like you heard there, certainly sounds like he's going to play in some additional rehab games, and we go from there. But certainly appears that his return is fairly imminent, so that's very good news for the Padres, and who knows, may find out more information on what exactly he's doing moving forward tomorrow, and stay tuned to all of our 97.3 The Fan social channels, and certainly here on the radio side of things as we continue to hear more about Xander Bogaerts. All right, let's squeeze in one phone call before we head out of here. Let's go to Renee calling in from Spring Valley. Hi, Renee. You're on the Padres postgame show. You'll have the final word. Welcome in.
Oh, right on, Sammy. Hey, it's good to be on with you. Like always fun to be on the air with you, man. And, I was, again, conversating with my son before this game and saying, Mijo, this is going to be a tough week before the break, and it's not going to make or break us. I said, but it reminds me of how we began the season. And I told him, and I won't remember the game and the day, you probably will, when it was early in the season and we came and scored 6 or 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th. And that was before a lot of the more recent magic that we've had. But I said, I like a team that fights like that. And it's been proven. And we've also had conversations, Sammy, about us, taking some on the chin and then thumping some people. You kind of, after it was off the air and heard your comments, you said, well, we're not really thumping people yet. And I said, yeah, okay. But I'm always trying to look positive. I always hope my stars in ascension. But, man, we've been, in my mind, we've been playing very tough divisional games, almost playoff games, all season long, it seems. You know, I mean, we're scrapping along, and look, we are where we are, and we can only be hopeful for what's to come. I'm excited with, Xander. I'm glad I got to hear. I didn't hear that all day until right now when I was on hold, and that was great. But I would like to ask you one friendly question, if I may, before we end.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's something about pronunciations, and I don't mean to pick on you or in any way, but I wonder because I hear you say the word important, but you pronounce it, it sounds like a D rather than a T. And I really, I love language, and I wonder where that comes from. Like sometimes you hear some people say, oh, I got to wash the clothes, or we're going to Washington.
Right.
So there's just the different geographical, regional language, and I've always wondered, what, honestly, what is that? Where does it come from? And if you can talk about that, cool.
Yeah, let me think about it, Renee. I'm going to say, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. Let me say the word important. That's important. How do I say it? Important. Yeah, it's important. Important. I guess maybe it does sound like a D. Look, it may be a little of the East Coast in me coming out. I'm not sure, Renee. I don't know. Important.
I didn't mean to message you, Sammy, but I've always wanted to ask you
Renee,
this.
I appreciate it.
Hey, when the calls are busier, I don't think it's the time. And sometimes
Renee, I trust me. I appreciate that you're listening that closely. So, that's it's all good. So, thank you for the phone call, Renee. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good night, Sammy. We'll talk soon, man.
All right. See ya. Important. I don't know. Might be a little East Coast. When I first started broadcasting, if you go back and you listen to like my Cape Cod League tapes from my first couple of summers in baseball, it is rough. And part of the reason it's rough, there are a lot of reasons, was that I still had my New York accent. Now, a lot of it has sort of been washed out of me, the New York accent. Now, I do think there are times and things I say and the way I say them where maybe you hear it, maybe you don't. People seem split on that because some people seem to think that I sound like I'm from the East Coast, and then I meet a lot of people who don't know that and don't surmise that at all. But when I first started, it was ball, wall, tall. Like, you have to say the word ball a lot, right? When you're broadcasting, when you're doing play-by-play, you say the word ball all the time. Well, I would say it like ball, wall. So it was rough early on. But, a lot of people tell me that I don't really sound like I'm originally from New York. So I do think it comes out sometimes, though, when I say certain things or the way I say them, whatever. So I have to think about that word, Renee. Important. I don't know. Anyway, all right, we'll wrap up on that. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, 3:40 p.m. first pitch tomorrow. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show begins at 2:40. Right-hander Michael King on the mound for the Padres tomorrow. Right-hander Bryce Miller on the mound for the Mariners, and should be fun tomorrow. Padres giving away an adjustable throwback hat, 1984 themed hat. They are going to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 1984 World Series team, so they're going to have a number of different celebrations going on here, and alumni from that team back here in San Diego. So that'll be really, really cool tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. I had a chance the last few days to do quite a bit of research on that group, and it's was a really, really, as I'm sure many of you know here in San Diego who were here, I was not born yet, in fact, so I don't know, but pretty remarkable team. So I'm really looking forward to that, and then we'll see if the Padres can even up this series. And to Renee's point, just before we read you the final totals here, yeah, the next 4 games before the break, you'd really like to see the Padres finish this half strong, and we'll see if they can do that, sitting at 49 and 46 now after tonight's game. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the Mariners. 8 runs, 13 hits, no errors. They left on 8. For the Padres, 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 1. Logan Gilbert, the winner, he's now 6 and 5. Losing pitcher Adam Mazur, who drops to 1 and 3. Time of game, 2 hours, 35 minutes, and the crowd here at Petco Park, the 29th sellout of 2024, 43,123 in attendance here tonight in downtown San Diego. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 3:40 p.m. Pregame start time at 2:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Petco Park. Again, the final score, the Seattle Mariners 8 and the San Diego Padres 3. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.